going to look at some parallels first. I'm from California in the US. You can tell, maybe you can't. And Silicon Valley, of course, is there, which was the center of the dot-com boom. And the dot-com boom, there's some interesting parallels, right? First, both the dot-com boom and now we have blockchain, ICOs, etc. Both started with a number of projects and companies that had no clear economic value. So when I graduated from university, I had a lot of friends who went to Northern California. I was in Southern California, and they went and started companies like imaids.com, ibrooms.com, anything.com. Okay? And they had no business plan, no economic value of any kind, and yet they went and started all these companies, right? And people said, the internet's a fad, this is junk, it's never gonna last. Why are people wasting their time with internet, right? If anybody told you you're wasting your time with internet today, I think you know what you tell them, right? So that was the thinking back then. Many of the initial projects and companies failed. I'd say probably 90 to 95% of the dot-com boom companies, they failed, okay? They're no longer here, iBooms, iMaids, I think there was like iGrocery, whatever, they're all gone, okay? Nothing is there. But you also ended up with Google, Amazon, Facebook. Some of the most valuable companies today in the world also came from that same dot-com boom. So I bring up that parallel because to me I see a very clear parallel about what's happening in blockchain. You hear people, we'll see about it a little bit later, they say, oh, it's a scam, it's junk, nobody's using this, it's just used for crime, right? Which I think is ridiculous as well, because I'm from the US, we have all of our movies, and it's much easier to pass a bag of green cash that's untraceable than it is to go to a blockchain transaction that I can trace all the way back to the identity address. I just don't see how that's better than using cash. But nonetheless, getting back on point here, some definition differences. The dot-com boom was entered into in the US Silicon Valley. This is not the case for blockchain and cryptocurrencies, it's worldwide, right? I've met blockchain and Bitcoin millionaires from Poland and people from, Central America, Latin America, Africa, all over the world who are involved in this. This was not the case for the dot-com boom. That was really Silicon Valley and a few venture capitalists who were involved in that space. Dot-com investment was primarily limited, as we said, to venture capitalists, institutional or accredited investors in the US, as we call them. So it was a very small group. Obviously, you're in it, you did great. If you were not in it, not so good for you. I've been at quite a few of these conferences over the course of this year, and I heard venture capitalists speaking, and they would say, I'm going to be out of a job soon. And what they meant was, I used to be the only means of people getting capital for their investments, for their companies. This is no longer the case. Now, obviously, things are adjusting, things are changing. We don't know how it's all going to shake out, but clearly there's a change in the model for the way that people can capitalize and get funding for new businesses now. And blockchain ICO investment, as we said, anybody can participate, right? So that means that if you don't, in research, just like anything else, if you don't know what you're doing, you can lose a lot of money. And a lot of people say, well, then that means it's no good. But of course, venture capitalists made a ton of money. I mean, their usual way of doing this, I used to talk to a lot of, I won't name them, but a lot of venture capitalists in California, and they would usually say, okay, if we get 1 out of 14 investments that don't fail and go out big, we've been successful, right? Because we get a huge return on that. So really what that means is most people expect almost everything to fail and only maybe a very few to actually succeed. So there's nothing really new under the sun, as they say, in this scenario.